Welcome to the jsimon podcast, where we try to ask the questions that only you have the answers to when it comes to your financial strategies. Uh, Let me start the show today by asking you, would you rather be rich or never poor? I had a smart guy ask me that just a few months ago, and I had to stop. Well, of course you want to be rich, but if you only could choose rich or never poor, which one would you rather have? And that's a deep question. So I'm going to leave that one to you today. Would you rather be rich or never poor? What a way to kick the show off today. There has been a survey that's sort of been taking the pulse of Americans over the last 12 to 15 years by a product company, an investment product and insurance company known as Allianz. And they ask all sorts of questions. But the walkaway over the last 7 years, the top concern of Americans continues to be this: that Americans have a fear, the number one fear that they have from this study, the number one fear is outliving their retirement incomes. And most recently, LIMRA, which is a study group, a nonpartisan study group that overlooks life insurance and annuity sales and dollars accumulated by those sales by the companies. They're telling us, showing us that people in their 60s today are going to live until their early 80s. People in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are going to live into their late to early 90s. This is all translating into people are living longer than they used to. I remember the stories of hearing about my grandpa Simon retiring at age 60 and dying at age 62. So this not only puts a stressor on the monies that we're saving for our retirement today in today's dollars, but it also puts the stressor on Social Security and the trust fund we know as Social Security today in the United States. If that was built back in the 30s, I believe it was during the FDR administration, and you were Grandpa Simon, your life expectancy was 60, 61, 62, not much later than that. So the math worked out. But fast forward to today, we like to take retirement in our mid 60s. Some of us push that to their early 70s. But we immediately jump into that Social Security eligibility status and then take that for a ride. And we don't die at 62 or 65. We're living into our 80s, into our 90s. And here's another interesting point. Are there more Americans retiring today, turning age 65 today than ever before? What do you think? The facts are that 10,000 Americans per day now, since January 1st of 2024, turn 65 at 10,000 per person a day. So 10,000 people a day in America are turning 65 years old and now filing for Social Security, and they're receiving their benefits. So major stressor on the system. More about this report here that we're seeing, and just sort of the pulse of how people feel. 45% of American households will run short of money in retirement, says a report from Morningstar. The outlook for single women was even bleaker. 55% will outlive their incomes, compared to 41% for couples and 40% of single males. Morningstar's report found almost half of American households will run short of money in retirement if they stop working at 65. This new research predicts raising concerns about financial health of the country as people live longer, have greater responsibilities for their retirement savings. The likelihood, here's another part of this. The likelihood of running out of money mirrors worries U.S. workers already have. 2/3 of Americans fear running out of money more than death. 58% worry about losing independence. 52% fear being a burden on family. This was from Corebridge. So, what are some of the solutions? A dangerous word that people from my profession have to be careful about is using the word guarantee, because there aren't a lot of guarantees, and there are things that look like guarantees but they're not, and you shouldn't be hearing the word guarantee. But if there were a way to have a guaranteed stream of income during your retirement, would that be of interest to you? If there was a way to see those numbers work out for you, would that be interesting? Um, our parents and maybe our grandparents had pensions. That guaranteed income at retirement after a certain amount of time working. Some of us worked for employers that eliminated the pension. We didn't retire, but they retired the pension, and it created big incentives for us to get into 401k plans. Pensions are very expensive, and the math doesn't tend to work out as people retire earlier and live longer. That's why we don't see pensions that much anymore. You'll find unions, many of them, teachers' unions, labor unions, municipalities will have some form of a pension plan as well as a 401k or a 403b plan. Two different types of retirement plans that are very effective. But most of us today don't have access to that guaranteed stream of income that a pension in the old days was built to do. Wouldn't it be interesting if you could see what that did for you? Are there tools out there that do that? Are there actually guaranteed streams of income? And the quick answer is yes. By using your money, there are ways to set up beneficial ways to create that beneficial guaranteed stream of income. But I'm already retired, Joe, and I'm receiving money. That is a good time to even dig deeper into taking a portion of that to guarantee some form of more beneficial money during the years where the spending of this money is even more important. To be smart about what you're doing, more beneficial. You're already smart, but being smarter about it. What about Social Security? I had a great discussion the other day with a younger client. They were in their early 30s. And what came out of that was a reminder to me that, people that are that are in our 50s and 60s think a little differently about Social Security than people in their 30s and 40s for obvious reasons. They've grown up hearing there isn't going to be any more Social Security. The baby boomers are the tail end of the baby boomers. So people in their late 50s and into their early 60s may have heard just smatterings about that, but now you can see the finish line and you're getting the reports and you're seeing the realities of, hey, there will be some Social Security benefit for you when you retire, and it's just a couple miles down the road. What I want to just dial into today is the fact that Social Security is a trust fund, a national trust fund that was set up in the 30s. It exists. It's paid out. Along the way, it started to create benefits for people that were disabled and not retired. That was paid out and continues to be paid out. Our government has borrowed from the Social Security and has an IOU or IOUs in there. Has that affected how Social Security may have performed? Literally, not figuratively, but in reality, is the money really there from all this borrowing? So these are all questions that swirl around Social Security, but the big one is it really going to be there? And there's another study that was recently done. 15,000 people join Social Security, the benefit pool, each day now. The majority of Americans have little knowledge about this retirement benefit, according to a 2024 annual retirement study from Allianz. Even though employees can start taking Social Security benefits as early as 62, and full retirement age is between ages 66 and 67 on birth year, more than half of the 53% of Americans say they do not know much about Social Security. Younger Americans are likely to know about Social Security. 60% of millennials and 51% of Gen Xers say they do not know much about Social Security or how it will fit into their retirement plan. 23% of boomers who are all over the age of 60 say they don't either. How does Social Security work? Where do we go to get our readout from Social Security? Did you know that Social Security provides a calculator that it's a plug and play? Anybody can go to it. You plug in your information, your date of birth. I believe they ask for your Social Security number. Make sure it is the Social Security site. I have that. We'll give you details on how to get it at the end of this. But I find it fascinating. You may find that interesting. Do you know what Social Security is currently reading out to you and what your benefits are? Even if you're 30 years old, even if you're 50, even if you're 65 and planning to work for another 10 years, even if you're 70, as long as you haven't flipped the switch and said you're officially retired and start paying me Social Security Trust Fund, it's a sliding, moving scale for you, hopefully up, and it would be interesting to see how you're doing. We can help you with that. I can see we're coming up on just the last few minutes of the cast today, and I do want to let you know that there's another piece of information out there that the American College of Financial Services provides called the Retirement Income Literacy Study, and it's a series of questions. I've got it before me. It looks like it's about 40, maybe 30 questions, and it asks all sorts of things, testing your knowledge. For example, what's the difference between what you can do with a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA? Here's another one. If you have a 401k today and it has a in-service withdrawal provision, would it make sense for you, even if you're still working at that same employer, or you left, but the old 401k is over there, and we'll call that old money in an old 401k with an old employer? Could it make sense to pull that money out, creating a taxable event, paying the tax on it, and putting it into a tax-free type of vehicle? A cautionary note on there is best to consider that when you're 59 and a half or older. But do you know what those equations look like for you? And as we head into some big changes in the future for our taxation, for business, for our economy, for the way we think and do things possibly in our country. The best way to get a hold of me, to get at those links and to find out more, is to send me an email. And that is jsimon at davinciinsurance.com. Have a prosperous day, and thank you for your time.